Good morning. Sorry for the delay here. This is the Finance Administration Special Committee meeting. It's approximately 10:32, and first on our agenda is public comment. If you have a public comment, please come forward to the podium, state your name and where you vote, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Bob Spearman, Blendon Township. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, it's only money, they say. 225,000 in the Kimball lawsuit, 188,000 in the Hambley lawsuit, totaling 413,000 to pay the lawyers and to Kimball himself. Plus, we know of 172,000 or more in county money to defend the Hambley lawsuit. Now a total of at least 585,000. How much is the county paying the Coleman Group, Law Group, and others for the Kimball lawsuit? We don't know that yet. A FOIA may be required. Sure, it comes from the insurance authority, but where do we get that money? From the taxpayers, not by way of manna from heaven. Plus, the loss of productive time. Where's Joe taking us? Do members of the Finance Committee, particularly Ottawa Impact members, even care? Where's the accountability? Joe should be ashamed and resign immediately for his vindictiveness and arrogance in each case, as you were behind each case and you lost. But you won't because you are too bullheaded. Plus, and the Gibbs lawsuit to go, probably the largest yet. Where does it end? Because maybe more lawsuits before year end. Taxpayers should know about this and be up in arms. I hope Mr. Bonema got his answer to his question he posed a few weeks ago on legal expenses, plus lawsuit losses paid by the county and the insurance authority to everyone involved. It must be an amazing total, certainly affecting the insurance authority reserves. New subject. You are recommending a FY25 budget to the Board of Commissioners filled with obvious red flags in it that you choose to ignore or kick the can down the road. You have not taken anything that the four non-Ottawa Impact members have said when they could discuss anything. Obviously, the FY25 budget will need a lot of budget amendments in the first year that the Ottawa Impact have left for the next administration. So hold on, directors. It will and may be a bumpy ride, and the day will be brighter soon. I wanted to mention something about the third quarter financials, which I have not seen yet, or has been brought forward that I know of, and excuse me if I'm wrong, to the board itself. Is something trying to be hid in that? That is a typical Ottawa Impact mantra. They tend to not say something if it's bad news. And certainly we have a lot more bad news coming. But where is that third quarter financials? And of course, we're already at the end of the fourth quarter almost. Thank you.
Won't take a pitch in the dirt. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to consent resolutions. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd, 2024, Finance and Administration Committee meeting?
So moved.
Support.
And is there discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote since there are dollars and cents involved. Yes, just approval of the minutes.
Mr. Belknap,
Yes.
Mrs. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
and Ms. Cosby.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to agenda and action items. First on the agenda, the only thing really on the agenda is fiscal year 2025 budget resolutions. Do I have a motion to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the fiscal year 2025 Appropriations Act?
So moved.
Second.
And discussion. Commissioner Moss.
Sure. I'll open up just with some general comments. I guess first I want to just thank administration and staff and everyone for all the work they put into the budget. We're all very well of economic factors that are impacting the county, the taxpayers, the people who live in our county. And some of those factors are beyond our control, but we still have to respond to them. And so additionally, I guess I'd like to say thanks for all the detail that's been provided to the board. It's been very helpful to look at and understand and go through, work through questions and things like that. And I can say, a lot of the, budgetary, a lot of the budget line items are fairly flat. Many do not have big increases for this upcoming budget. County clerk is down a little, which I guess we might expect coming out of a presidential year, maybe. But, Department of Strategic Impact, legal counsel, circuit court, district court, probate court, veterans, prosecutors, their budgets are pretty similar to this budget year, which is great. Their, sheriff's department is about 35 million, which is about 30% of our general fund. And treasurer's office is up a little bit. Facilities is up due to, Family Justice Center changes, and some of that is going to have to get worked out this year as we get more details and get into it. And they have some upcoming building repairs.
Saw that.
So, overall, I think things are looking pretty good. And those are my initial thoughts.
Any other discussion?
Just a comment regarding our facilities, including the projects to improve our access for, those with disabilities and, responsible, pavement maintenance and roofs and, hard infrastructure. I think that's all good, responsible. So just want to commend staff for, the work that, going into that. And I know over the past 2 years, we've implemented some information systems to, kind of help prioritize our, building needs. And so it's good to see that work is, coming forward and getting into our budget.
There discussion? No, I know I was appreciative to see that the capital improvement project stayed on the budget. And that's in our ADA requirements and making sure that all of our buildings at the county are accessible. So that was good to see. Joe, you took a lot of my questions and kind of did a really nice synopsis of everything that you saw. I appreciate your background in forensic accounting to help see through some of those things. And Karen, thank you so much too for providing the comparison, the year-over-year comparison of recommended budgets and then adoption. That was very helpful. Commissioner Moss.
There has been, discussion on increasing costs, especially with inflation, projecting out. We had some really great information in the last committee meeting from CMH and how they're really looking at, budgetary, control, both short-term and long-term, how it impacts the county. And I do think that, at the county level, we can do more of that as time goes on. And right now, kind of holding spending is kind of as tight as we can, I think is good. But maybe long-term, some look at, is there any duplication? Really doing a deep dive on certain things to see, where, like looking at cost of service and some metrics is going to be important moving forward.
It's important. I mean, we have approximately 1,300 employees, can't can't tell you the number of departments off the top of my head, but is there an opportunity to see if there are duplicated services that we could build some efficiencies in? Make it a little less confusing even for, the taxpayer when they come to use the services of the county to know directionally which department they go to for suicide prevention, for instance. So I think AI is going to be pretty helpful as well as to help us with the sorting process there. All right.
Well,
Yes,
one other
Commissioner
comment
Ross.
I have is, as I've asked for other feedback and talked to other commissioners and things like that, I have not received, concerns. I haven't received, much other, significant, nothing else significant. And so I guess that's a good sign.
Mhm.
I'm glad to see department heads are, working hard and trying to manage budgets and yeah, I'm thankful.
I don't know if it's the right time. I think and one of the commissioners did bring up whether or not the salary increases for the electeds that was approved was added into our budget. And I don't know, Karen, if you have an opportunity to maybe address that conversation, just as we go forward, we move this budget forward from the finance committee to the Board of Commissioners. We can have that question addressed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The salary adjustments for the elected officials is not included in the budget at this time. It is historically been our practice to amend the budget when those are implemented. As I understand it, the board can take action and make a change, although they have not. We don't generally do anything until it becomes official, which as I understand it from corporate counsel, is very close to implementation date. I did do the calculation. The cost is less than $100,000, less than $75,000 with all of the elected officials. So what we would do is we would do a budget adjustment in January. This does not stop in any way those raises from
Increases.
occurring. We just have to make the adjustment in the budget.
Okay. And so, all right. And it makes sense that you would do it as it is occurring. So that would be about a quarter of the way into the next budget year.
As I understand, January 1st is when they would take effect.
Thank you. All right. Well, I have Karen up here. Any other questions of Karen? Amen. Thank you, Karen. All right. Any further discussion? Go to a roll call vote. The motion, yes.
Is there anything from the treasurer?
Oh, the treasurer I was going to do under committee reports, but we could speak with Cheryl now. Cheryl was kind enough to come today. We want to talk about the delinquent fund transfer because that has changed.
Yes,
Yes.
the delinquent tax revolving fund?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so I did notify the Finance Committee and Fiscal Services and our corporate counsel that we do not have a surplus in our delinquent tax revolving fund, which means that the transfer cannot be made out for the rent, which is for the Family Justice Center building.
Is that right?
Go ahead, Commissioner Moss.
I'm not really familiar with that. There's rent for Family Justice Center. Could you go into that a little
It's
bit?
considered in the budget, it's considered rent,
Okay.
a rent transfer, but it is actually for the debt payment for the Family Justice Center.
Okay.
Commissioner Moss.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So was that, so it was in the budget for this year and for next year, but it is not able to be done?
It is not, because we do not have a surplus.
So it seems like from what I've gathered so far is that there's the surplus funds or the funds in the delinquent tax fund have been used for like the last 10 or 12 years with treasurer's slaw and price. Is there some kind of change in this year?
So it has been used in the past, but that was when the treasurers declared that there was a surplus.
So
We
what's
do not
changed?
have a surplus this year because we have several lawsuits that, and with the increase, I mean, if, just looking at the tax payouts that we've done over the prior years, in 2022, we paid out almost $6 million in delinquent taxes. In 2023, we paid out $7.5 million. So that was an increase of $2.5 million or $1.5 million. And if we continue to increase like that every year, I need to have the money. I'm not sure if you know what the delinquent tax revolving fund is used for. I can explain that if you
Yeah,
would
that'd
like.
be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the delinquent tax revolving fund is part of Public Act 206 of 1893, which states that if a delinquent tax revolving fund is established, the county treasurer shall be the agent for administering this fund, which means that I operate this fund and I have to declare a surplus. The fund is used to pay all taxing entities for the delinquent real property taxes that are turned over to the county at settlement time. That's when we balance with all the townships and the cities with their rolls. We then pay all of the taxing entities, which is county operating, CMH, parks, road commission, central dispatch, all of the townships, all of the cities, the Spring Lake Village, state of Michigan, all of the schools, all the libraries, the Holland Aquatic Center, and Macatawa Express. So that's a lot of payments that we make out, that we pay out, and we make them whole, taking on the debt of the delinquent taxes. By doing this, we are ensuring that all of the taxing entities have enough revenue to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents in our county. We pay these funds out and then we reimburse ourselves as we take in payments on those delinquent taxes. So I have to have enough money in the delinquent tax revolving fund to pay all of those taxing entities before I even collect the money. So I'm using money that has been in there from prior collections to pay all of these taxing entities. And it can take up to 3 years before we will even collect any of that money, including foreclosing. So after 3 years of being foreclosed or being delinquent, then the county then forecloses on property that has not paid their taxes. And then it goes to an auction. And then at the auction, if there are any proceeds, then we have to put the proceeds into a restricted fund until claimants file a claim with the court, with our office, and then we send it on to the judge to determine whether or not they have a valid claim in those proceeds. So I also have to make sure that I keep that money separate in case somebody does file a claim. That is another portion of this money that I need to withhold from being used by being transferred out. If property is sold for less than the delinquent taxes, then we take a loss. And we have the option of paying the delinquent tax revolving fund back by using any proceeds that we've made from prior sales and nobody filed claims on. So that's one way of doing that, or one reason for doing that is so that I do not have to do what is called a chargeback, which means I would have to, in a sense, charge all of the schools, townships, cities, every taxing entity, any money that we did not collect on those delinquent taxes. So I can save them money by not charging them and keeping enough money in the delinquent tax revolving fund. So that is another reason for making sure that we have a healthy fund balance. One other reason is that it helps with obtaining the county's AAA bond rating. If we have a healthy fund balance, then that helps with that. So it is my job and responsibility to make sure that all of these payments and that everything flowing in and out of this delinquent tax revolving fund is done according to the law and protecting the money and protecting the townships, cities, schools, county, all of the taxing entities also.
So for like the last 10 years though, Cheryl, we have been receiving distributions from this fund, correct? In two payments.
Only, well, no, one payment. The last few years, only one payment of 675,000 has been taken out for the jail building and the Grand Haven Court Building and the Holland Court Building. Though the jail building bond payment was done in 2017, the Holland Court Building will be done in November of 2025, and the Grand Haven Court Building will be done in November of 2027. Once those are done, then that payment should not be coming out anymore. There was an agreement that was made with the prior treasurers that we would continue to do that and fund those payments out of the delinquent tax revolving fund. But the payment that was coming out was over $1 million for the Family Justice Center, and we don't have $1 million in there to give.
Follow-up
Mr.
question on
Moss,
that.
yes.
That's really helpful to understand. One quick question. When those bond payments are done, does that mean the bonds are paid off too?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great. That's
So
excellent.
so the jail is done, and then those two will be done in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very close.
Yes, we are.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's planned. You said that's 600,000?
675,000, yeah.
Okay,
Right
so
in there.
we did
I think the
something.
transfer out for 2020, let's see. 2024 was 674,750.
Okay,
2025 budget, it's the same, 674,750.
It's
yeah.
great. We're very close. I personally really like paying off debt.
Yes,
Too.
me too.
I do
Rebecca
too.
has something.
Yes, Rebecca.
Thank you. Can you remind me how much is currently in the delinquent revolving tax fund?
Yes, so there is currently, we have a net position of $18 million.
Okay.
But we also have expenses that come out of there. So the expenses that come out are in relation to collecting and dispersing delinquent taxes, forfeiting on forfeiture property, on foreclosed property. So we have salaries that come out of there. We have IT equipment that comes out of there. We also have the revenue that comes in is from those delinquent taxes that we are collecting, which I, in a sense, am trying to set aside because I'm going to need that money to pay again in March for the 2024 taxes.
And
We do have of that 18 million there, we do have, I calculated a reserve that we would need to save to pay off lawsuits when we are finally ordered by the court on what we need to do. Because we have heard that they are going to make us pay interest that we earned on our money, their money, they're saying, and also attorney's fees. So I estimated that we would need around 2.6 million for that. Could be more. I also estimated that we would need a contingency reserve of 13 million. And that's my reserve for paying out delinquent taxes in March. I don't know how much it's going to be. If we have 13 million is what we paid out in 2009 after the recession. I don't know. There's fear that we could have a recession again. I want to be safe and make sure we have that money. Because if we don't have that money, then we have to borrow. And when we borrow, it's going to cost more money. It's going to cost the taxpayers money.
Couple of things. So when you bring up lawsuits, you're talking about the Raffaelli cases, correct?
Yes, there are
Sit on
class
that.
action lawsuits, and then there are some separate individual lawsuits.
Okay, and then the 13.1 million, that was from 2009, but it looks like over the last 10 years, you're averaging about a 6.5 million in delinquent taxes to give or take in. Why 13.1?
Like I said, I
Why
wanna-
did you go by 2000?
I want to be prepared in case there is a recession.
So Commissioner Moss?
It does seem like a very large difference between the last 10, I don't know, 8 to 10 years or something to go from, 6.5, 7 million or something up to 13 is, like, I'm wondering what's changed from the past, like why has it been done? I think part of the question here is, the county wants to pay down debt and has been historically planning and using a very small
A small portion, yeah.
portion of the funds to help with that.
Mhm.
Could there be like $1 million out of there or something that we could look at?
Not that I am calculating, no. I need to be prepared.
Could we look at, could we like reassess the calculation or sit down together and look at it to see? Because I guess I'm just confused. Prior treasurers had, gone
Actually,
through-
Amanda Price,
Yeah,
I was with Amanda Price when she told Karen that we did not have a surplus in the 2024 budget.
Yeah.
So I do know that, and I was here when Brad Slaw was here and he warned fiscal services that we were in the midst of these lawsuits and that we would not have surpluses going forward.
okay. Is there kind of like a baseline that they were shooting for where they kind of want, I don't know the math, what, 15 or 18 million or something available for kind of that flex space? And now with the extra Raffaelli funds probably going to get, have to be paid. Now it's like below that number.
Yes.
I was going to say the infamous Raffaelli cases when
Yeah.
you mentioned them. Is there, I mean, I've heard some semi-recent updates on those, but is there anything more recent?
Not yet.
No.
They are appealing the decision, so we are waiting for the hearing on that appeal.
Could continue for a while.
Yes, they're saying it
While
could
longer.
continue a year at least.
Oh, boy. Wow. How long has it been going on? Like,
2020, I believe, is when Raffaelli was
Right.
filed.
yeah, so quite a few years.
Yeah.
But some of them stretch back pretty far, some of the.
Some of them, yes. So the decision was that we would have to go back and pay out back to 2013 or 2014 taxes. So
And now they're trying to charge interest.
interest that we earned on the money, yes, and attorney's fees,
Probably a huge chunk in attorney's fees,
right?
probably first.
And that's another reason why I want to keep the 13 million is because I'm estimating 2.6 in interest in attorney's fees. I don't know what it's going to be. I have no idea how much they have in attorney's fees.
Well, and the attorneys that we're talking about, those are out of Lansing or the east side of the state or something, and they're doing a big class action, is that right?
Yes.
That-
So there are class actions
Yeah.
for our side of the state,
Yep.
the west side, and then there are class action for the east side of the state also. And then there are individuals who opted out of the class actions that are also suing.
Fun.
Yeah.
Just something, the reports that you provided for us.
Yes.
Something to kind of draw your attention to includes like a $674,750 transfer for debt services in both of those reports for both FY 24 and 25. But it doesn't show it as it's available to the county as a withdrawal. Is this?
I am
oversight?
including it in the budget because that was something that was agreed to by the prior treasurers, that we would continue to pay.
The bond
That's the payments for the Grand Haven Court and the Howland Court.
and the jail, is that?
The jail is done. So
Oh, see, even better.
that was done in 2017, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
that's great. Another
Further
question.
questions? Commissioner Moss?
Sure. I'm just curious. I know there's a lot of inflationary pressure and I have a couple houses in my neighborhood that have been for sale for a while.
Mhm.
Before, and they would just sell so quickly. And now it's
Now they're not,
been
yeah.
a few weeks.
Right.
And it's interesting to watch in real time. And I've been talking to realtors in the area, asking them for feedback as well, and they're saying the same things. They say commercial's pretty busy. Residential, not so much. Are you seeing any warning signs with foreclosures or anything, or are we still?
Not with foreclosures, but that, I believe that one of the warning signs is when I had to pay $1.5 million more in delinquent taxes between 2022 and 2023. I mean, if I have to do that again, we could be at 9 million paying out in March. So,
Does it all get paid out to the townships and local units at one time?
yes,
Oh, wow, fun.
yeah.
And then you have to collect
Yes,
after that?
and then we have to collect after that. Mhm.
Any further questions of Cheryl? Like, yes, is that a yes?
Maybe,
Mr. Moss?
maybe. When will we have thank you. When will we have an idea of how it's looking? Would it be March to know new numbers or? Because it kind of seems like there could be some increasing risk on the horizon.
Yes.
I'm wondering how we can stay up on that and how we can continue to monitor.
Well, March would be a good indication of what is going on and how many delinquent taxes or parcels that we take in, how much we have to pay out. And also we have so we are in forfeiture on 2022 taxes right now. They will be foreclosed on next year. So we will know also next year if we have a lot of foreclosures that nobody pays. But it is my job to make sure that we don't foreclose. I do not want to foreclose on any homes. So
Right.
I
And that-
work with them as much as possible.
Yes, and that's been a long-standing practice to do
Yes.
everything the county possibly can to keep people in their homes, not to foreclose, et cetera, even if it's, payment plans and things like that.
Right,
It-
which also, I mean, so that means that the money paying back the delinquent tax revolving fund is going to be out longer than 3 years. Could be out 4 years, could be out 5 years, because we're giving these taxpayers payment plans and giving them extra time to get their taxes paid off. So, yeah,
There been any noticeable increases or changes in that area?
no, this year, we only foreclosed on 7 properties, I believe it was 7. And it was one house and one business. And the rest were all gap pieces of property that were owner unknown.
One other question on the foreclosures. There's been a very low number foreclosed, I believe.
Yes.
Does the number that you think we might have to actually foreclose on, where people just refuse or can't or refuse to work with the county at all, do you think that might go up?
It might if we have a recession. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it definitely would if we have a recession. I'm
Mhm.
hoping we
Hoping
don't.
we don't, but yeah,
But some people are arguing we may technically be in a
in
recession.
one, yes.
now, But not feeling it like
Right.
2008,
Mhm.
and possibly not as,
We get our job numbers right, maybe
right,
we'd
yeah.
be able to actually
They-
quantify that
They just make up the job numbers as they go, and then they adjust them 8 months later,
3
yeah,
months later. 8
3 months, 8
yeah.
months, yeah. But time will tell,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I had a crystal ball, right?
Could we buy one?
Yeah.
I just think it's important that any avenue we can travel, and this is one that we've been using to pay down debt for our county, for our taxpayers.
Mhm.
These are taxpayer dollars. They feel like they should be directed towards the debt.
But
of
it's
the
only been
county.
used, like I said, for $675,000. It's not been used for over $1 million.
As a special project, correct? It was
That's-
used for the Juvenile Justice Center.
Right, that $1
Yeah,
million.
That was
is for
the
that.
unique
Mhm.
set of circumstances.
Right. And I don't know if conversations were had with our prior treasurers or not, but I have a feeling that if they were involved in obtaining this bond, they would have said, you can't take $1 million out of the delinquent tax revolving fund to pay that bond.
Which bond is it again? Sorry.
Family Justice
Justice
Center.
Center.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do we know when that was issued?
I don't know.
I believe the first payment is this year, right?
Was it issued in 22, maybe? Something like that?
I think the first
Can't
payment
remember.
was this year.
When the building went on our books as an asset and I think increased the value of assets in the county.
Well, unless we hit a huge recession, it's going to keep skyrocketing. Okay, it's helpful information.
All right.
Very helpful. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. All right. So, we'll go to a roll call vote to approve. I'm sorry, Commissioner Moss?
I would have one, I think we have to make one amendment then to
Okay,
the resolution as it is, to make sure that we're including the bond payments.
okay.
So, if I could make that motion, I guess, although maybe Karen has more comment, but.
Please.
Can I, couple things. The 675 or 74, 750 that Cheryl referenced in the 20, I guess in the 2024, that transfer has been made. The 2025, it is not currently in your resolution, and maybe that's what you were leading up to because we did remove it. Because there's a zero at the bottom of the page,
Mhm.
and I didn't know that that was available or not. And we obviously addressed, so I was trying to get prepared for this meeting. I wanted you to have a resolution you could pass. I asked to meet. We've been trying to meet on this issue for some time and have not been unable to do that. And so there's a number of things that would have to change in the resolution. It's not an easy add.
Okay.
Which I
Okay.
can appreciate that you'd want to add it.
We could wait until
There's-
next week.
Yeah, there's a $900,000 hole in 2024. If the $674,000 is allowable in 2024, and I'd ask that the attachment be updated now that I know that I should be getting these sheets from the treasurer, because I can guarantee you that Amanda Price never shared with me that there were no funds available. Because if she had, I would have taken steps to do something about it. I would not have just,
Assumed.
I haven't heard anything about problems or issues with the delinquent tax fund until, yesterday or the day before. I was unaware.
well, I've been aware for months and trying to meet on it.
And thank you for working on it. Yeah.
And, but if we could ask the treasurer potentially to use the 675,000 from 25 that she's releasing in 24, that would leave us approximately a $300,000 problem in 24, because the debt payments have been processed and we've paid them.
Okay.
And it would just be easier to address that issue. And since 25, you have a resolution in front of you, it is balanced and addresses the current issues. This would, I think, just make everything a little easier for everybody, since it is the 9th hour and I have done this resolution about, maybe 3 or 4 times now. So I would appreciate that. And I'd appreciate an updated sheet as well.
And what was the last part?
I'd appreciate an updated sheet as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd be very
Provided
comfortable.
by the treasurer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd be very comfortable, sorry. I'd be very comfortable doing what Karen recommended. Pass the current one
Current one and then amend it to
and
the,
see if we could amend 24 to include 25's payment to help offset costs for the taxpayer, and 25 is already, currently balanced and done. So, that sounds great.
Okay,
I'll talk to the treasurer afterwards.
so do you want to make that motion, or we're going to go with the motion that we currently have on the table and we'll make? the
Motion to,
amendment in a week?
did we already make the motion? Oh, yeah, we did.
We made the
Okay.
motion.
Then-
We're going to go to roll call. vote.
Then I have no amendment.
No amendment.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So we'll go to a roll call vote, and that is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners fiscal year 2025 Appropriations Act.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Belknap,
Yes.
and Ms. Cosby.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Next up is public comment. We're on our second opportunity for public comment. Please come forward to the podium, state your name and where you vote, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Bob Spayman, Blendon Township. Usually I'm a pretty optimistic fella. You probably wouldn't agree. But I look on the bright side of things as much as I can. I look for the silver lining, as they say, and so on and so forth. And what I'm hearing today doesn't make me happy in that vein. What I feel like I'm the canary in the coal mine, and I'm chirping away, but I'm choking at the same time. I think we're headed for some problems down the road. I think you know that, but not being transparent, you're not sharing it with us. But we would like to know what that is. The budget, like I say, will be approved. It'll take major adjustments to correct it in the way and shape it's formed. You can like the budget, you can be optimistic about the budget, but it needs some massaging, let's put it that way. I would encourage you to keep that in mind as we move forward. I am concerned about not sharing the third quarter results. I have not seen them. Maybe they are out there. I've even asked for them, haven't received them yet. Being a conspiracy theory person, there must be something in it that you're not willing to share. And that depresses me and disappoints me. Keep it open, keep it transparent. Why keep it hidden? You lie enough that you are, well, anyway, I'll leave that as it is.
Pardon me.
But it's important to be transparent to the constituents. You have run on that platform, you have failed at that platform. And I would like to see some more transparency. Please listen to the canary. I can see budget problems now and down the road. And you know what they are. You've been shared with those, but you don't want to share with us. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Seeing none, for the record, I have never lied to my constituents and I never will. I do not appreciate that commentary. Thank you.